Yeah. Oh my goodness. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Phil's Recap and Review. This is going to be for, well, a ton of crap right now. I'm going to catch up on a lot of stuff. I'm not going to get into too much crazy detail, but we're going to kind of run through some of the stuff that I've been missing and try to catch up so I can start going from this point on. There's a lot of stuff to catch up on. It's been a crazy couple of weeks for a lot of reasons, but I'm going to focus obviously on television right now, and obviously on some of the things that I have missed over the course of a few weeks. Included in that will be the first 3 episodes of Westworld, the last few episodes of Better Call Saul. And again, I'm going to be talking about this in generalized patterns, maybe getting into more specific detail at a later date. And, of course, the season finale of Picard. I also binge watched the Ozarks, so I'm gonna season 3, so I'll have a few thoughts about that, but that's about it. And also taking your questions, taking your comments. I'll be on for probably about an hour, probably get off at around 1 p.m., or get off about an hour ago. Well, however you want to look at this thing. But here I am. And it's been a little bit more difficult to get out here recently because I had some technical difficulties. And not the kind of technical difficulties that I can't wait to go upstairs and do because I'm already have way too much energy. And my head is pounding right now because my THC vitamins are really low. Because right now, with everything going on, one of the few things you can do to keep yourself sane is excessive marijuana smoke. But that's beside the point. So, everybody, let's get into this. I'm not alone. I mean, I might be alone right now in my own mind. I'm not set up well here. You know, I have one less computer screen. I have one less thing, one less testicle, one less asshole. I mean, I'm a big asshole, a gaping fucking asshole, but but no, my setup's a little different. So if I seem a little awkward, or if you see me going like this in a cold panic, that's because I don't know what I'm doing quite yet. But I felt like it was way too long. I feel like this whole situation that I'm currently out of work at the moment due to the situation, I figured that the best thing to do would be to come out here and podcast every day. Then I came to like start my first podcast the day of the quarantine thing, and something exploded. It's like, and I'm like, okay, I guess I'm not podcasting right now either. Oh my goodness. But I'm back. It took Amazon 75 days to get me my part, and I'm here to talk to you. Let's go. We do have the live motherfucking chat. The live motherfucking chat. We've got Noreen. Hi. We've got Peter Griffin. So I asked Joe Exotic. Oh. I also watched The Tiger Show, so I can talk a little bit about that. I finished binge watching that last night. Geordi, the motherfucking Jedi, my favorite. Geordi, I missed you this season in Picard. I was hoping you'd show up in that last minute. Considering, I don't want to get right into Picard here, but considering how much Hugh and Data were a part, spoiler alerts for all this crap, considering how much Hugh and Data were a part of this Dater, where the hell am I from? Dater. That Dater. The Dater sure is a good guy there. He hangs out at the Walmart. With this season being so centrally focused, or Hugh being a big part and Data being a big part, I'm kind of surprised we didn't get more a Geordi sighting. Now let me turn off this damn music. We've got Misty. It has been a long time, Misty. And the worst part of this is since The Walking Dead started in October or something. We kind of started off and we're going to go full steam here. And then I foolishly or happily, because it was a fun experience, got involved in a theatrical production, as many of you know. So sort of put the podcast on hold for a while. And then I kind of went through a whole bunch of whatever stuff, getting everything back together. Got everything back together, was getting ready to do some more streaming. Then I was going away for a vacation for a week. Went away for a vacation. When I came back home, you know, everything had already hit the ground running with this situation. So, as I mentioned before, I'm like, okay, I will podcast more. It's the perfect opportunity. I found out I wasn't going to be working through this whole thing. So I thought, what was the best other thing I could do? Considering I can't make money right now, I can at least make silliness and talk to you guys. And then, of course, so here we are. So, needless to say, maybe for the second month of this, you might have to hear from me a lot more often because I don't have a lot of people to talk to. Anyone that lives in the same vicinity as me is probably sick of hearing my voice by now. So you, thank you. Okay. Lynetta says Ozark Season 3 sucked big time. Ooh, we're going to get into that in a little bit. Hey, love you. Azora hype. Lots of love to Kyle. I want to put Kyle in my arms, squeeze his pretty little face, and slap him on his bottom. Great to see you in the live motherfucking chat, Kyle. And hopefully I will be seeing you in July to hang out. This, it does mean more live streams. Now that I'm set back up and can kind of get back going, I can try to talk. I can start to podcast more. Joe will hopefully be joining us here and there when he can, but Joe is essential, so he is currently working as well and probably working more hours right now. But lots of love to Kyle in the motherfucking chat. Okay. Hey, Phil. Great to hear from you. Zancy, great to be heard from again. I've never stopped talking. I just go into awkward lonely rooms. That's a weird sort of. I literally just woke up. Was it 12:15? I'm such a sploo. I'm such a lazy douchebag right now. I got up at like 11:30, rolled my ass out of bed, tied my hair back, and said, "Oh, should I go on errands now or should I podcast now?" That was basically it. So you're going to see my brain start to wake up as we're doing this. It's going to be an experiment. This is me as sleepy and groggy as I can get pre any substance that may cause me to put a smile on my face, including copious amounts of alcohol to get you through this. I mean, really, I'm ashamed to tell you how much I've been day drinking. I really am. It's sad. I have these little cans of champagne. I'm like drinking champagne cans. It's pathetically awful. I mean, in a second here, I might have to, or if we got a spin or something, I might have to run upstairs and drink before I eat, which would be hilariously amazing. Okay, Bernie, are we going to talk about Saul? We are going to be talking about the best show on television right now, Better Call Saul. I am going to definitely be talking about that. I know everyone has different opinions, but yes, spoiler alert, I fucking love this season. I can't get enough of it. Seeing Jimmy and Kim go back and forth, that dynamic. Reese Seahorn, or whatever her name is, I always destroy it. She is one of the best actors working right now. And seeing her match Bob Odenkirk, who is in the next level of awesome this season, because the amazing thing about Odenkirk and watching him through this whole process is when going into Better Call Saul, and I guess I'll start right off here. Going into Better Call Saul, I kind of expected him to be Saul Goodman. When you first watch the series, you're going into it coming off Breaking Bad a couple of years. You're hearing some of the rumors about the series, just because I know a lot of people are catching up with Better Call Saul, but as someone who has followed it since the first breath of it, the initial burst of it was going to be a comedy based around letting Odenkirk do his Odenkirk thing and being Saul Goodman. Then you turn into the series, instead of it being a half-an-hour situational comedy thing, it's a 60-minute drama, like a slow, prodding, character-driven drama. And Odenkirk is playing a character that you don't recognize. He's playing Jimmy McGill, or Slipping Jimmy at times, quick flashes of Saul. And throughout the seasons, we've seen this show develop and move, and you've seen Odenkirk show so many different levels of acting that he has. And from someone that I found incredibly appealing my whole life through Mr. Show, and following him through all of his bit parts, and even like How I Met Your Mother, or on an episode of Seinfeld. I've always kind of loved Bob Odenkirk as a comedian, and I think he was an amazing writer on Saturday Night Live from the skits that I've heard him be a part of, and especially on Mr. Show. I mean, I talk around it a couple times, but as funny as I think David Cross can be on Arrested Development or in other bit parts here and there, and as funny as I think Bob Odenkirk is, you gotta talk about Mr. Show. And at least for me, comedy is something I don't talk about always on this show, and I've mentioned this before. The comedy is such a subjective thing. I feel like I can't tell you, I find this funny, you have to find it funny. I think that's a douchebag move, Like when someone tells you, this is funny, it's the greatest thing in the world, blah, blah, blah. You're just setting someone up to not find it funny. And even if you are setting it up for them to find funny, it puts a lot of pressure on the situation. So I can't say, oh, Mr. Show was the greatest thing. I can say that at the time, I liked it better than Kids in the Hall. I liked it better than The State. I liked it better than Saturday Night Live, and that Sandler, Dana Carvey, Chris Farley, Mike Myers cast. I liked them a lot, and I liked In Living Color a lot. But Bob and I was going to talk Bob and Dave and Bob. But Mr. Show had a different edge to it that other shows didn't. Watching it back, it's hard to recapture eras of comedy, and I think Saturday Night Live and In Living Color hold up a lot better over time, and I think even The Kids in the Hall hold up a little bit better. But at the time watching it, Mr. Show was like the greatest thing in the world to me. I loved Bob Odenkirk, and seeing this process, this career that he's had, and going into Better Call Saul and getting to be a part of Breaking Bad, and then getting this opportunity to be on this show, I cannot say enough amazing things for the talent that he has as an actor, and how, same with Michael McKean, who popped up in the show, who I always knew was a great actor, but seeing him go that deeper level with a character like Chuck was just incredibly amazing to me. But seeing all the different elements, my point on this rant here was to see all the different elements that Bob is bringing into his character right now, bringing back the Saul Goodman that we saw from Breaking Bad, but also matching that in the last couple of episodes, especially with Jimmy being in there somewhere. Jimmy's in there somewhere still. Jimmy has not been killed, right? And you can see him look at Kim sometimes, at her reactions as she broke bad in these last couple of episodes, and then had buyer's remorse when she saw how far Saul will really go. And then seeing that battle between them and seeing her basically fight for her sanity, and then the way her mind wraps around of like, maybe we'll get married. It's just like, what the fuck? And then the next episode where they get married, it's just, Better Call Saul is at this point right now where I think it's just incredibly amazing. And let's just go over here. Okay, thank you. Oh yeah, that feels good. Sorry, everybody. I had to scratch my nose, and you know how much I hate doing that on camera because it looks like I'm picking for gold. I'm like, it's a fucking mess. But let me catch up on the motherfucking chat a little bit here, because I don't have my normal setup. I don't have the chat on the screen. I'm a big bloody mess right now. So let me go down. We got Bernie. We got Just Chris. We've got Azora, and pretty soon, hopefully sometime in this month, if not afterwards, Kyle and I can get on to do something soon. It's been too long since Kyle and I have talked. Hey, love you, Kyle. Haven't seen Ozarks. First two seasons are really good, or the first season's really good. I like the second season a lot. Third season I'll get into in a little bit. I liked it. I did not love it as much as I loved the previous two seasons, and I know why, and it's specifically because of one person, and I'll talk more about that. I'm watching that Tiger show right now. It's another one. I get the hype. Maybe this will just be an all over the place, because I wanted to try to center things around certain discussions, have this be the Better Call Saul discussion, but I'm reading comments and I want to go in a lot of different directions. But just make quick reference of the Tiger show. I think the Tiger show, it's interesting that it's capturing people right now, but I think it's because they're internal. I think these Netflix documentaries by nature are really well done and are set up in a really interesting way, and I think this is just another one, and I think this one's closely associated. A lot of people can remember this, and that character of Joe Exotic is literally, you wonder if it's a character played by the survivor Johnny Fairplay and Guy Fieri had a baby and created this person, because his like mannerisms, his character is very humorous and very television capturing, especially in this moment where we're all sort of a captive audience to what's going on right now. Any new series that comes out, it can be really obsess worthy, and I liked it. I think it's interesting that it's getting this kind of, I don't know, like, every once in a while something's the thing, and Making the Murderer was, or Breaking Bad was at a point in time, or The Walking Dead was at a point in time, or Game of Thrones was at a point in time. Right now, it's this Tiger show, and I think it's funny. I think it's not funny, but I think it's not a funny story. It's a lot of sad shit that happens in that, and you hear a lot about fucked up shit. And yes, she definitely fed her husband to the tigers. But I do think it's interesting to look at what captures the zeitgeist in what moments and how it goes, and I think part of the reason we were watching it last night, and Steph turned to me and was like, I like this, but I don't know why it's this popular. And I just point at Joey Exotic on the screen. I go, that dude right there. Because that dude he's again, I'll add another character. He's like Eugene from The Walking Dead, mixed with Guy Fieri, mixed with Johnny Fairplay from Survivor. And anyone who knows Johnny Fairplay from Survivor, people like Survivor. And yes, I'm watching Survivor this season, Winners at War. And I will make mention of that as well. Great to see your beautiful face, Travis. If you liked Breaking Bad, you'll like Ozarks. The acting is amazing. Especially, the acting is really amazing, and I think even in this season where I had a problem with one character that was a little bit too much of the season, and it kind of threw me off a little bit because I didn't like her last season, and I did not like her in Jessica Jones. I don't know the actress's name, but the character that plays Helen. I didn't necessarily like her last season, and I was hoping for less of her this season. But she's a huge part of season 3. And it threw me off a little bit. There was enough amazing stuff because I think the acting on the show is top-notch, especially by... I'm going to be calling characters by character names because I don't necessarily, not woken up yet. And I'm not the best with actors' names, but Jason Bateman, Michael, whatever his real name is in the show. I call him Michael. I was watching it a couple of times here and there. Stuff happens. I'm like, oh, Michael, don't do that. And someone turns to me and goes, it's not Michael. Okay, Marty. Excuse me. It begins with M. Marty. And Wendy. The character of Wendy, I think, to me, is the greatest character on the show. And she sells the show. As much as I love Bateman, and I think Bateman kills it from an acting standpoint, it's the best acting he's ever done. And I think the son is really well done. The guy that they had play Wendy's brother this season was extremely well done, and the old man last season, and all the bit parts they have of the mafia guys or the drug kingpins, the crazy heroin wife woman that I'm trying not to spoil things from previous seasons if you haven't watched the show, but she's an amazing character, and she adds a lot to this to the dynamic of the show. But I think the show is Wendy's show. For me, anyways, when I'm watching it, it's this process of watching Wendy Bird become Tony Soprano and then have buyer's remorse of it. I think that's the nature of this season. And I think it's fun to watch her process throughout it. And I think even within maybe some of the narrative of the season being slower at the beginning, stronger at the end, all over the place a couple ways, where there was a side story about a war, there was a story about a connection she was having with the main boss. Excuse me. I'm about to let out a big, disgusting burp. Whenever I go like that, that's the thing. I have like a hiccup burp issue. I'm like, I've talked a lot. Air needs to come out. It's like a queef fart in my diaphragm. So, sorry. I did watch Ozarks 3, and I'm going to be talking about that, or I'm talking about this. Tiger King is a great watch too, very different. It's TV catch. It's TV catch up time from your lazy hippie feet. What the fuck? Hey everybody, this is Bob. What am I doing? I'm not even coming up with creative stuff this morning. It's just everything's just crap. Hi, I'm spending way too much time alone. What do we got? Adam Sandler in studio here? Touch the hiney. Stupid. Okay. I keep hearing The Walking Dead has been awesome this last season. Is it true? I've watched a few episodes. I kind of like the Carol and Negan thing at the end there of a couple of episodes ago. I didn't watch. That was the last episode I saw with Carol and Negan giving each other the high fives and shit. I haven't watched the Michonne episode or the following episode. You know what I'll say about this season of The Walking Dead? I don't think it's any better. I think it's a crap load of fuck, but I do think Negan's good. I think Jeffrey Dean Morgan's really good on this season, and I think that's about all I can say about it. And I'm curious to see the movies, and I'm hopeful that they actually just said that The Walking Dead might end after season 12. So if that happens, I promise I will recap every episode of the final season of The Walking Dead if they actually announce it's the final season. I'll do it happily. I'll get Joe here. We'll be doing it live every episode. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Hey, Brainwash, great to see you. Bloody fucking talker. Still working every day as an essential employee. Life is fun right now. Take care of yourself. I feel like I'm Jerry Springer at the end. Take care of yourself and others. Oh my God. Okay. Glad I'm recording this whole season to re-binge. Did you notice that Kim is from Nebraska? Isn't that where Cinnabon Saul is from? Yes. I don't know if that's a funny coincidence thing or if that's where he chose to go because of that factor. As many people have known that watch my Better Call Saul streams over the last couple of years, I've speculated about where Kim is. And I think everyone speculates on that. Is Kim dead? We're seeing now Saul get a lot more involved in the cartel, so it is possible to think that Kim could die throughout this whole process. How awesome is Gus last episode too? Oh my goodness. How awesome is the character of Gus? And the more we learn about Gus and the more we see his character, the more I think Walter is a fucking asshole. But that's beside the point. It's because I'm like, I like Gus more than Walter. I mean, not as a character. I like Bryan Cranston's portrayal of Walter. I think Walter's an extremely interesting character. But I think as a leadership, a bad guy leader and something like that, you watch how Gus built his stuff and you see it a lot more in Better Call Saul, and you can kind of relate to it or understand it, or you can see him more as a person, why he's doing things. Whereas Walter, you watch Breaking Bad, sometimes you're like, fucking Walter, what the fuck? Jesus, Walter. So it's interesting to see that, and as that gap closes, it's very fun seeing Huel be such a big part of an episode of Better Call Saul. Was very rewarding if you've been watching these series the whole time. But to your point, Bernie, I wonder, and I've speculated before, does she leave? Is she dead? Or are they together in some way, and the deal was, when he has to disappear, meet me in Nebraska? I don't know. I'm curious. The more I learn about Kim and the more I see Kim as a character, the ability that she has to compartmentalize things impresses me. And I wonder if... I just wonder how much that... Excuse me, I gotta move this thing. I'm bumping into it. It's pissing me off. Pissing me off. You'll have to deal with some pops and my peas instead. Hi, everybody. I can get closer now. I wonder how much of the interaction they have during the Breaking Bad time. I'm very hopeful that we're going to get more Saul during Breaking Bad times. I'm stealing this from somewhere. I read it, but you know how there was an episode of Better Call Saul an episode of Breaking Bad called Better Call Saul? I'm convinced we're going to have an episode of Better Call Saul called Breaking Bad. It's going to be an episode where that starts. Or maybe we'll get a fast forward through all the process. Maybe it'll be the penultimate episode of Better Call Saul. I don't know, but I feel like that's coming. And I feel like we're going to see a lot more about Jimmy's life and about Saul's life. Oh, my hair. We're going to see a lot more about Jimmy and Saul's life and what's going on during the Breaking Bad time period. Because I'll say this again, we didn't see Saul enough to know what his home life was like. We know that he joked about having 2 ex-wives. We know that he mentioned Nacho at one point in time and Lalo. He mentioned Ignacio and Lalo when Walter and Jesse kidnapped him to the desert. Like, we know a few things here and there, but we don't really know what his life is like. We don't know what his relationship with Kim is like at this point. Is Kim alive? Did they make a deal and when he talked to Max Cherry, specifically went to Nebraska so he can have some interaction, so he can, when it all blows over, have an opportunity to try to reconnect with Kim. I think it definitely means we're going to see Kim in the Cinnabon and Saul timeline at some point in time. What that means and how that affects the rest of the series is between you and the Cinnabon, Bernie. It was a great episode. I think this season of Better Call Saul visually is one of the best. I think the way that they're transitioning the look of the series from the brightness that you got in some of those early episodes of Better Call Saul and transitioning it into the more dark, not that Breaking Bad was dark, but I feel like there's a transition happening on screen from the visuals of the show. And I don't know if anyone else catches that, but I do feel like that is that is happening. I think you can see it happen specifically in the last episode where there's a shot of Jimmy Saul and you see a Two-Face. And it's just like little things like that just add so much, I say it over and over again, texture to the show. And I think that's, to me, why Better Call Saul is the best show on television, because the writing is on point. It's not always as exciting narratively as maybe a show like Breaking Bad was, where every show is an adventure, is an uptight situation to another uptight situation for a whole season arc of uptight situations. Better Call Saul has a much different flow. I've said this 1,000 times and I'll say it 1,000 more. It's like you're going to get a meal from a cook. That signature dish is pasta and he's making you his pizza. It's a different experience, but it still is going to taste delicious because the sauce and the cheese is top notch and he knows how to make it. And I think that's what you're getting with Better Call Saul. But as time goes on, he's adding little spaghetti to the pizza. They are adding a little spaghetti to the pizza. And I think the show is starting to feel more in the universe that we got, where I think at the beginning it didn't necessarily always feel like that universe. I think seeing Stephen Ogg back on the show. And seeing Stephen Ogg anywhere is an exceptionally fun thing to watch. I think all the little bit parts, I think Nacho is killing it, and his whole dynamic with Mike, and Mike bringing salt, like all of that and how it all is wrapping together here in this intense finish to the season has me extremely excited to see and talk about these final couple of episodes of the series after they air or the day after they air. And I can get more specific into things in the next couple of episodes. It's kind of hard without notes and without remembering specifically. That's why it's fun for me to do the episode by episode, because I tend to miss few things, but miss less things than when I talk about the stuff in a big, pile of shit, when I just throw all the shit together. I'm like, okay, we're talking about Riker showing up at the last minute and being like, I'm here to save Picard, bitches. Chekhov's Riker, motherfuckers. But anyways, it was a great ending. The Alamo is so good too. He really captures that. Oh, yep. Yeah, absolutely. That machismo thing. I love how he walked out of the courtroom and didn't even look at his. So well done. And that's the thing about this show, Bernie. The acting on the show too is just so top notch. Even from a fucking character like Howard. When we first meet Howard in season 1, I'm like, this is a douche nuts. Like, I don't like this guy. I don't like this character. What the fuck? And then you see how they use him and how they use that dynamic between him and, like, Howard's gonna fucking kill himself. Like, Howard was trying everything in his power to try to get through this process of what happened with him and Chuck, and trying to give back to Jimmy, trying to make up for his mistakes. And Jimmy, because of his own guilt about the situation, is just transferring that all onto Howard. And I think that's amazing, because people do that so much. That's such a real life human thing to do when you just don't want to deal with the shit that you have to deal with. And it's just, oh my gosh. You don't want to deal with the shit you want to deal with, so you transfer your anger onto other people. I fucking love it. I love it so much, and I can't wait to see where this goes as I'm switching windows here, so I'm not looking. There we go. That's a little better. Kids in the Hall are doing a reboot. Oh, nice. And I don't want to make it like I didn't like the Kids in the Hall. Dave Foley is hilarious. Let's see. Let's go on down. I live that show. Hey, Phil. DJ, working from home. DJ, hope you're staying sane and healthy. Love me some DJ better. Give you a big hug from your home. Even though it's a little creepy if I'm just like coming into your home and giving you like an unwarranted hug, especially in times like this. So I'm sorry for breaking the boundaries down and just, coming in your house. So, no, I hope you guys are all good. Rewatching In Living Color. Wait, scroll up. Oh, did I go up? Oh no, I lost. I had tapped on The Walking Dead. I just watched it for the after show reviews. Oh, that's so cute. I wish I was good enough to. I wish I enjoyed recapping The Walking Dead enough to just do it every week. Oh, the live motherfucking chatters are here. I'm on episode 5 of The Tiger King. I'm scrolling up. I lost something. Rewatching In Living Color as an adult makes me wonder how and why my parents let my brothers watch the show. Granted, we didn't understand most of the jokes, and we enjoyed it a lot. It's funny, some of those things that you watch back, and you're like, how did my parents just approve of me watching this? I joke about this a lot, but my mother was all about me watching the Revenge of the Nerds movie. She saw them, and she loved them, and she's like, you gotta watch the Revenge of the Nerds movie. That's a good movie. And I watch it, and I'm like watching these guys break into this girl's the sorority house and setting up cameras. I'm like, Mom? You want me to watch this? But yeah, it was great. Hey, just came by to hit the like and share. Oh, OTDA. Love you, buddy. Thank you so much. You are amazing. Ian, I love you. Bloody Talker. Killmonger. DJ. Oh, hey, what are we talking about? Santovia Majors in the live motherfucking chat. Right now, I'm talking about Better Call Saul, but I'm bouncing around all over the place. Today, I will be talking. I'm sort of finishing up the Better Call Saul discussion, but talking about the Picard season finale, talking about Ozark season 3, talking a little bit about the Tiger King, and talking about the first 3 episodes of Westworld. That's kind of on the table today. Plus anything else, Plus fucking anything else. You want to talk about the situation? You want to talk about fucking motherfucker? I want to talk about Survivor season 40, Winners at War, and how upset I am that all my favorites are gone. That Huel's gone. Huel. What am I talking about? Breaking Bad? Or are we talking about Survivor? You might want to talk about Love Island, the British version that I'm watching right now, and there's 55 episode seasons. Like, how awesome is that? You know, come on. When it comes down to it, I know whether you like shitty reality shows or not, when you get a season of 55 episodes and you're stuck in a quarantine, you know life is good. You know, when you got plenty of beer, plenty of hippie activities, and you got 55 episodes of some shitty, horrible, piece of shit, pathetically terrible television show to watch and make yourself feel shitty about, it's great to go to the UK shows because you get, again, 55 episodes instead of 13 that you'll get here or something. So, hey, thank you, Love Island UK. I appreciate it. I'm going to recap the most recent season. No. But so that's what we're talking about. The lovely Centovia Major. Okay. I love Survivor. DJ, I think we've talked a little bit about this off air. Yes, I am upset about Sandra and Parv and Rob and Tyson and Yul because they're all like some of my favorite characters that were there this season. I am still excited. There's a couple of Tonys still in the game, and Tony's probably my favorite survivor of all time with Shane Powers. But yeah, I'd say those two are probably my two favorite survivors of all time, Shane Powers and Tony. So at least I have somebody that's up on the screen to entertain me, and I highly recommend the Shane Powers podcast. Okay, so let me continue. Episode 5 of Tiger King. Tiger King is a hot damn mess. It's crazy. And I talked about this before. Hey, everybody. This is Joe Exotic. I'm here today to do my podcast. I'm here on Phil's podcast to talk about some stuff. Hey, Joe. How's it going today? I don't know how it's going today, Phil. What you talking about? What you talking about right here? I got Goofy right here. I'm going to put my tongue in Goofy's mouth and make sure he bites it. Yeah, Oh, hell, everybody. This is Goofy. Hey, Goofy. This is Joe Exotic. I don't know. I kind of want to dress up like Joe Exotic for Halloween next year. Anyways, as I mentioned before, speaking of Survivor to DJ, Joe Exotic is the perfect combination of Eugene from The Walking Dead, Guy Fieri, and Johnny Fairplay from Survivor Pearl Islands and Fans vs. Favorites. An exact replica. The three of them jerked off in a petri dish and birthed Joe Exotic. Okay, so let me continue. It's so good to see all you guys. Lord Dom Snow, love to everyone. Hope everyone's doing okay. Same to you guys. I'm sorry I haven't been out here to give you guys a silly touch the last couple of weeks of all this. Part of it, as I mentioned, is my whole thing being broken. Part of it is I've been drinking too much during the day, and then when I think about podcasting, I'm like, huh? What are you talking about? And part of it is just there's so many more important things going on that listening to my silly douchebag ass, I kind of, everything kind of settle a little bit. And now for this last push till May the 4th, it's looking like you can hear my annoying ass more often than not. And if you're one of our patrons, I'm going to try to give you guys daily quick video type shit as well. So thank you for continuing to be my patron throughout this process. You guys that are helping me out right now more than ever, considering I'm out of work and all that stuff, is more important than ever. So I really do appreciate our patrons that have stuck around right now. Okay, and if you have to change that because of your situation, I completely understand that. I'm just explaining my my love and thanks for you guys at the moment and helping me eat. So, and thank you to the couple people. I did a couple of phone live streams and I got a couple of donations and I appreciate that as well. I think I owe you guys spins of the wheels or something like that. So I appreciate that. I got a PayPal donation and a couple of other things. Phil Drink? Did that really just land on Phil Drink? It did. So I think for all the people that have been donating, I want to give you guys a big, huge thank you. And on that note, I'm going to be right back because I'm going to run upstairs and get a drink. So this is for you. I'll be right back. No, not that. Kind of gross. No, wrong song. That was the wrong song. That was the final boat sex. But speaking of which, if you are a Scrubs fan, and I know there's some people out there that are Scrubs fans, or if you've never watched the series, you want to watch Scrubs, I highly recommend it. But if you are a Scrubs fan and you've been a fan of the show since the beginning, and it's kind of one in your deep inside your hole of favorite television shows, I highly recommend I think it's on iHeartRadio, maybe. But there was a new podcast that just started. Literally, there's only one episode of it with JD and Turk doing a podcast of the two of them, Donald Faison and Zach Braff, doing a podcast recapping and breaking down every episode of Scrubs. The first episode is just them talking about the pilot. There's actually a similar thing for Glee, for you Gleeks out there, with Artie and Tina, but which kind of got me into that. I was like, oh, what other shows do this? And then I kind of saw a post that someone threw up about JD and Turk doing their show. So I listened to the first episode of JD and Turk. It's fun hearing the two of them together. They obviously have amazing chemistry, and they are also very much Hollywoodized guys a little bit. There's a Hollywoodness to both of them. So it is fun listening to the podcast, though, and especially if you're a Scrubs fan, even in the first episode, it gave me a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff and a lot of just fun information, or just, at minimum, seeing more interaction between the two of them, which is always great. So, I'm running behind in the live motherfucking chat, so let me try to catch up with the chat here. Oh, we got Bernie. I never liked Bateman, but that might be why I've never seen Ozarks. Fair enough. And if you've never liked Jason Bateman, I think if you're going to like anything he did, it's this, because he doesn't play so much the Jason Bateman character he's been playing since Valerie's Family. And then the Hogan Family. At least that's the first thing I saw Jason Bateman in. I think he was in other things before then. But since that character, he's been playing a cocky, I'm Jason Bateman character. That he played in Teen Wolf 2, that he plays in Arrested Development to a major point. So I think Ozarks has enough goodness in it that you can kind of maybe get past your dislike for Jason Bateman, because he's very much doesn't show a lot of emotions in that character. Doesn't show a lot of humor. There's a few moments where they let Bateman show his humor off, but for the most part, he plays sort of a very not stoic, but a very, very prickly, kind of overcautious, arrogant, but not arrogant in the way Michael Bluth is arrogant kind of character. I don't know. I think this is his BoJack in the sense of, if we're going off of Arrested Development with Job there, with Will Arnett. But anyways, Phil, don't watch the October Faction. I will not. Robert, great to see Robert in the live motherfucking chat. My side butthole buddy. Great to see you, Robert. OTDA. Bateman is so good. His faces are... And that's the thing. His faces, his reactions are just so human to me. And seeing his whole interaction with Wendy and seeing his face as he knew how it was going to end before it ended, I could read that into... I'm like that a lot when I'm like, don't do this. I'm seeing this 10 steps ahead of time. You don't even want to get involved with this person because I know how it's going to end. I'm not always right, but I think I watch enough television. I can predict how things are going to go in normal life, of course. Because life in television, I'm exactly the fucking I can also talk about the final season of Curb Your Enthusiasm, or the final episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm, which is fucking amazing. I don't like how exactly it ended. I like the end point with Mocha Joe and Living Next Door and all that. And I think in general, Larry David was at the top of his game this season. Again, with comedy, I don't want to talk too much about comedy, but if you like Curb Your Enthusiasm and for whatever reason you haven't watched season 10, or if you like Larry David, check it out, because it is one of the funnier seasons of Curb Your Enthusiasm in my impression. But okay, so Bateman is so good. Bateman is so good. Hey, Lady of the North is saying hi to Mr. Kyle, if Kyle is still in here. And also good to see you too as well, Phil. Lady of the North, it is great to see you in the live motherfucking chat. Great to have you. And it was amazing to have Kyle pop his head in. I don't know if he's still in here right now, but if he is, lots of love to Kyle. I like Rudy characters. I hope she gets more plots in the next season. Oh, yes, me too. Absolutely. Tom Pelmfrey is amazing in Ozarks. Is he the one that plays Wendy's brother? Please tell me. I don't know names. Is he the one that played Wendy's brother this season, Lauren Dahm? I gave up on October Faction. No one's likable characters. I like the parents, but they couldn't save the show. Fuck The Walking Dead. Chrissy, we got Chrissy in the live motherfucking chat. Chrissy of Old Stones. Great to see all of you guys. A Gray Sphere. I tapped out of The Walking Dead this season. I just watched the after show reviews. Love you. I hope The Witcher has season 2, 13 episodes. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to scroll through it. So many FOP fans. Hi, everybody. Oh, it's so amazing to see all of you motherfuckers in the live motherfucking chat. Chrissy, Ian, Misty. Oh, my goodness. You would think I would have caught up on Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Atlanta, and finished BoJack Horseman, but I haven't. That's one of those things that I'm finding in this quarantine. Like, there's so many things I have to catch up on, and I'm finding way too much time where I'm just sitting on the couch with a drink in my hand and being like, I really need to do a lot of stuff. What am I doing? But when I'm working, when a lot of stuff, I'm trying to like throw 10,000 things in an hour. Trying to stick a million things in one little hole. But right now, when I have this big giant gaping Grand Canyon of time, basically what I'm doing is nothing, and it's hard to generate the motivation to do much at most times right now. And I know that's within me. That's not about anything else going on. It's about the laziness within me that looks for an opportunity to pitch a tent and camp out a little bit. And I think part of that is being allowed to do that right now, and allowing myself to do it. Allowing myself. There's a Tiger Man podcast, too. The doc only scratched the surface. Joe actually had 3 straight husbands. One that didn't want to be filmed. And I also heard that Joe doesn't really sing the country music. Not that that's a big surprise. But all those country music parts, he actually hired a singer to do it. People can correct me if I'm wrong about that. There's a couple of other situations. So I actually really want to listen to that podcast. Bernie, email me at igotissuesman@gmail.com, the name of it, because I'll forget right now. But please do, because I'd love to hear more about this. I have that Serial feeling, when I first listened to the Serial podcast, and I just want to hear everything else about the situation right now. And that's how I am with the Tiger thing right now. So, hey, hot mess. Cynical Lindsay. Great to see Cynical Lindsay. Oh my God, so many awesome faces. And I know not everyone might be staying in the whole time, but I appreciate everyone that's been popping their head in and out in the live motherfucking chat. Sorry, I've been MIA in this situation so far. No more. You'll get me multiple times a week now. And I'll try to get back on my post-show stuff on Monday evenings, I think is what I'm going to be trying to do. Monday after Better Call Saul, and talk about Better Call Saul and Westworld on Monday evenings. I think will probably be what I'm doing. Maybe try to be on Sunday evenings as well after Westworld, but we'll see how that goes, as I haven't been watching that live and been watching that the next day anyways. So it's easier to kind of wait till the next day to talk about Westworld, which I will get into in a second here. Not much to say so far about this season, but I will get into talking about that in a moment or so. I just want to finish this discussion about Better Call Saul here a little bit and collect up on the live stream. I work at Home Depot. We're still open. My coworkers cannot figure out why so many non-contractuals are shopping at the store right now. The good news is Jimmy John's is still delivering. I'm hungry right now. Star Trek Grandpas. Kevin. Oh, do we have Kevin in the live motherfucking chat? Do we have Kevin? What's up, Kevin? Kevin, congratulations to you on your wedding. I'm sorry. I appreciate the invite. I wish I could have gone, obviously, with everything going on, and I was coming back from a trip the week before, so timing did not work out. But I want to send Kevin tons of huge, amazing congratulations to him and everyone. I hope you're staying safe and awesome, and you had an amazing wedding, and I wish I could have been there. Hopefully we'll be toasting some drinks in July in Orlando. So what is up? You are watching a TV catch-up stream on Phil's Stream of Consciousness, live on the Issues Network. I love Ian, that totally, again, one of those people that goes out of their way to help promote myself and some other people as well, to keep things going, to keep us all together, keep this wheel a turning. So I want to thank Ian for being incredibly awesome to me. No matter how long I disappear for, when I come back, Ian is promoting the fuck out of it. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate all of you guys that help keep our show going here. And I mentioned the patrons, I mentioned the people that super chat, but it really is all of you guys that watch and talk about us and talk about us in other streams, talk about us in other places, help spread the word, tell other creators you want me on, like all that stuff has allowed me to keep going. And and keep doing this. And some of the crossovers that I've done with some bigger people are all thanks to you guys that have made that happen. It's not because of anything I'm doing or reaching out or doing whatever. It's because you guys do it, and people are like, oh, Phil, this guy. So I appreciate that. And there's some fun stuff coming up soon for you Game of Thrones fans. I've got some good exciting news coming up. I have to figure out the arrangement, but I might be on some interesting live streams coming up soon as well. So, blah, 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 blah. Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-blay. My, oh my, what a wonderful bleh. So let's continue here. Thanks, dude. Are you still... my ticket for my airplane flight is still purchased. I still haven't figured out where I'm staying yet or any of the room situations. And my flight has not been canceled or anything like that. But as of right now, I am definitely still coming. So I'm going to be there from Thursday till Tuesday or something like that. I think I'm coming in Thursday evening and staying until Tuesday afternoon. Maybe evening. I don't know. I don't have my flight information in front of my fucking face right now, you fucking fuck. But yes, you will be seeing me in Orlando this summer, most likely, unless any craziness happens. And either way, I think I'm coming to New Orleans. Either I'm going to Disney or I'm going to the Con of Thrones. I don't know what the situation is. It's hard to think about July right now and think about everything going on and how hopefully, everything's going to be over by then, right? We're hoping. Just Chris. I got my passes and room reserved, so hopefully it still happens. Phil, I'm glad you're back. Will you do another Better Call Saul soon? Sorry if you mentioned this, but I'm joining now. Yes, I will be talking about the final episodes of Better Call Saul. Everything right now will either be right after the episode airs or the next day. Because of few reasons for the next day stuff, as I mentioned, a show like Westworld, I'm usually not watching till the day afterwards. Better Call Saul airs a little later in the evening, and I've been drinking and smoking a little bit more lately. So there's been times where I'm just passed out, in no place to do a podcast at that point in time. Because a couple of times, even though my setup's been fucked up, I'm like, oh, I can do a phone stream. I can just do a hey everybody, just watch Better Call Saul and I'm feeling good. One of those kind of things. And I think I did one once for the patrons. If you're a patron of mine, I think at the beginning of the last episode of Better Call Saul, I did a couple of quick I'm watching Better Call Saul. This is what I think about what I'm seeing. Blah, blah, blah. And then I think I passed out or something like that. So I couldn't continue doing them. So I'll either be doing it the following mornings, next days, or right afterwards. But I will be talking about the final few episodes of this season of Better Call Saul for fucking sure. Each episode individually, not like this where I'm playing the catch-up game. I will be breaking down each of the following, the last couple of episodes of the season. Is it 3 episodes? We got 8, 9, and 10? Yeah. And as I mentioned with Westworld, maybe I'll be getting into that in a breakdown fashion on Sunday evenings when I can do it or when I'm able to watch the episode. But at minimum, I will be talking about Westworlds on those Monday podcasts with I was going to say Picard, with Better Call Saul, at least for these first few weeks, and then all Westworld for the remainder of that season. So, should I get into that? Should I get into what do I think of the first 3 episodes of Westworld? Okay, so... Oh my God, yes, Johnny Fairplay. Centovia, thank you. I'm glad the chat's catching up, or I'm catching up to the chat responding to what I'm saying. Yes, doesn't Joe Exotic remind you of Johnny Fairplay just a little bit? And then everyone can see the Guy Fieri and the Eugene, obviously. But Johnny Fairplay to me is that missing piece that there's definitely a shit ton of Johnny Fairplay in him. The way his face looks, the color of his hair, his mannerisms in some ways, yeah, and if people don't know who Johnny Fairplay is, he was in people might know him from professional wrestling instead of Survivor, actually. But he was in the 8th season? No, it was the 6th season of Survivor Pearl Islands. And he's famous for being the guy that lied about his grandmother dying to stay on the show longer. But there's his mannerisms, his attitude, his personality reminds me a lot of Joe Exotic. We need more Phil. Then you will get it. I hope this craziness is over by then. I think so as well. I hope so. Me too. Don't think I booked air, but everything else. I haven't booked a flight yet. I booked a flight, but not... As I said, I booked a flight, but that's it. I haven't connected with them, but I have connected with Mischief Management, so I'll be on panels again this year That's not the part I'm worried about. I actually might be a part of something that they're putting together soon. I don't want to talk too much about it because I don't know much is out there and if it will actually come together. But there might be something during this break with them going on as well that I'll keep you guys posted of. But I haven't booked where I'm staying yet. There was some talk with a couple of our friends that there is going to be a possible house. And to hold off on actually getting rooms, and I know how many rooms are in the Orlando area, so if worst case scenario, I can always get something at the last minute. I'm thinking about maybe getting it at the venue for 2 nights for like Friday and Saturday night, and then staying other places the other night, trying to, find crash locations, as I know a lot of people that are there that would let me crash on couches, and I know a few people that live in Orlando, I'm not sure exactly what I'm doing with the room situation yet. I'm kind of putting everything on hold right now, waiting to see how this situation goes. But we'll see. Either if it's happening, I'm going to be there. And even if it's not happening, I might be in Orlando anyways. As long as if the con doesn't happen and Disney World's open by then, I'm going to Orlando no matter what. I want to see Star Wars World, and I want to ride on. I want to go lay in a lazy river. Yeah, airfare is cheap as shit. That's part of the reason. Part of it, I thought about maybe canceling my flight and rebooking at a cheaper rate, but because I booked my flight so far ahead, I can't. Blah 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 blah. Let's continue. What about Glow? The Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. I don't know when the final season of Glow is going to air, but I'm so excited to see it. I love Glow. It's one of my favorite shows on television, beginning to end. I think it really works. I think all the characters match up well. I think all of the seasons of Glow are just as well done as each individual other one, and I think that's hard to do on a series where people always compare seasons after season. And I think Glow is something that, as a show, is so consistent in what it's trying to do. And I can't wait to see how they close it out. And having been a fan of the real Glow, it's interesting to see this take on it. And even if they aren't the real characters of the characters I remembered, it's still fun to watch. You know what I mean? And Mark Maron's amazing on the show. Yeah, I'm going to wait a couple months. Me too. Just your thoughts on Westworld. Really loving the new season. I'm going to get into that in 1 second here. Bateman is enjoyable to watch. Plays a number of geeks in Ozark's very dry emotionalist. Yes. Dude, I've been watching the anime mainly and it's turning into trash. What show is worth watching right now? Right now, I would say Better Call Saul if you're not catched up on it. It's a tough one to just say get in on it right now. Watch it. Obviously, that Tiger show everyone is into. Picard, if you're a Star Trek fan, I generally enjoyed throughout. It's tough. I would recommend the Ozarks, and if you haven't caught up on that, I know season 3 is hit or miss for some people, but I think in general, it's one of the shows I could recommend confidently. So I would say check out Ozarks if you haven't already. I forgot he was on Silver Spoons, John Doe. I know Alfonso Rivera was as Ricky Schroeder's friends, but I forget that Bateman was there as well. He played sort of the bad kid, right? The Eddie Haskell kind of kid on Silver Spoons, if I'm remembering correctly. Like the little, he was kind of a punk, he was kind of an asshole, but he like pretended to be a nice kid. I think if I'm remembering correctly, I'm having Eddie Haskell shit popping in my head for Bateman on Silver Spoons, but it's so deeply buried that I'm not quite sure. Like I remember Alfonso's character a lot more. But I'm not doing anything until Florida determines if they will be back in business. And then the season of Curb was pretty good. I love the John Hamm episode. Pretty good, Lara. I see what you're saying. Phil, I miss seeing you just in quarantine. I miss seeing your avatar. But I do know. Thank you so much, and I'm glad to be seen. It's very fun to be seen and very fun to be out here again babbling to you guys. And sometimes you just have to do it. You know, it's not about the big setup, having this podcast called something that's going to get lots of hits or properly tagged and all that kind of horse shit. Happy horse shit. Some days it's just about turning on the camera and talking to my friends. So I appreciate you guys being out here today, listening to this, and I hope that I'm mildly entertaining you on your quarantine this afternoon, and I hope to entertain you guys a lot more and help you guys stay a lot more sane over the next stretch. So, rumor has it that Walking Dead will end. I can only read half your comment, but I know how that end of that comment is going to say that it's going to end after season 12, right? Is that what it was? Season 12? I want this to be true. You have no idea. I mentioned this earlier. I want it to be true so much. I'm hoping and hollering and grabbing and squeezing, because I think we've talked about this before, Lindsay, on our podcasts here about The Walking Dead. I think The Walking Dead could benefit from an end date. There's certain things that when you know they're over at a certain time, it focuses shit. And I think part of the problem with The Walking Dead is this endless bullshit that they just keep repeating the same stuff because you're just spinning your wheels to try to make a show last forever. And I think that happens a lot with shows when their narrative is shorter. I am educated. Shorter. When you have a narrative that just doesn't warrant season raping over and over again, like just tapping it and over and over and over and just without people wanting it, just raping it. You know what I'm saying? Like shows that just keep going. The Simpsons are the biggest example of this phenomenon as I could ever say, of like, you just want to pound something into the ground until you suck every bit of joy and organic nature out of it. And so many television shows do that, because sitcoms do this especially because they just want to last forever. How I Met Your Mother did this a lot, and I love How I Met Your Mother. I've talked to Carmine a lot about, we've joked about doing a rewatch and doing like a whole How I Met Your Mother thing, but we don't want to watch past season 2. And that part of the problem was it was a story that probably should have been 3 or 4 seasons that they stretched out to 11. Because they had to, fuck that fucking doll until it stopped throwing up money. I don't know. But I think The Walking Dead is taking over as the greatest example of that. So I think once you have an end date, an end point, you know where this is ending, then at least from a storytelling standpoint, you can start to organize all the tales into a central focus to get to that point. And I think The Walking Dead lacks that a lot. And I think when you finally do get that focus, okay, we know this is our endpoint, this is how we get here, you have a chance. There's a chance it could get better. I'm not saying it will. I'm not saying I'm going to give a shit, but you do the Rick Grimes movie, you do the Michonne stuff, you have them all come back and you integrate all for a huge final 12th season that is going to end it all. And somehow this is all going to end and wrap up, or end in a way that it's going on forever. Whatever. So it gives me mild hope that an end date could cause some more enjoyment to the series, but I'm not holding out hope that A, they're going to end it, that if the show ever got like bounced back a little bit ratings wise, that they wouldn't be like, actually, when we said we were going to cancel, hey, we're back. Like if that Rick Grimes movie does well or something. So boycott The Walking Dead for the next couple of years until it's all over with. And then go back and watch stuff. Like, we don't want to confuse them into thinking we want the show to continue. We need to send a clear message that we want this shit to stop. And it needs to stop now. Or in 2 years. Or 1 year. Whatever. But I hope that's true, Lindsay. That's what I hope. Magicians is a must. I hear a lot of good things about the Magicians, lady. I'm 2 episodes behind The Walking Dead. I've lost the ability to care. I thought I was going to see so much stuff done. The only thing I've seen done has gone through the entire MCU so far. Started watching The English Game. Oh, Centovia. Zombie Mammoth. Everyone. Ubisoft is giving the video game Rayman for free, so stay inside. Awesome. I mean, a lot of people have played that. I love the Rayman series. I think an underrated platform series, right up there with the Marios of the world and the Sonic games of the world. I think Rayman is another great, amazing character that deserves attention. The last episode, season 10 of The Walking Dead, is delayed because of the coronavirus. I heard that as well, that we're not going to get to see, for those of you that are watching and following The Walking Dead, there's a cease in production. There was a cease in production, so you're not actually going to get to see that final season. I see motherfucking spots. Knack. Also, you should watch Castlevania. It's too good. I've heard that as well. I've watched a bit of the first season of Castlevania, and I love it. I'm not a anime guy, and I'll say that right off the bat. I'm a video game guy, not an anime guy. So I watched Castlevania in the way because of my love of the video game series. But I have to say, it's very well done if you're into it. It might be one of the best video game property things ever made when it comes down to it. And I think right up there with I mean, there's some other stuff. I think some of the animes are some of the best stuff. I've seen a Super Mario anime that was pretty good, and there's a Fire Emblem one that's pretty fucking good, and there's what am I thinking of? There's one specifically I'm thinking about that I enjoyed a lot as well. So on this note, I've now had a couple questions. So I have to pay back a donation that I got, which was a $20 donation that I got. Thank you so much from PayPal. And I spun the wheel for you, and you got filled drinks. So I'm going to go get a beverage. I'm going to go have a sip of alcohol, and let me play some quick music, and I'll be right back, and we'll get into Westworld Season 3. I'll be right back.
Are distracting me, messing with my pace. The back of the girl in front of me seems like she's waiting for me to be with me. Tight line of noise, creatively, silently standing there with poise.
Okay, enough of that shit. So, thank you so much for that super chat donation. Hey, we got Carmine of Red Team Review out in the live motherfucking chat. Great to see Carmine out there. Carmine reached out to me a couple days ago, and I can't wait to talk to Carmine about something. But this was the intermission of the show. I am back, and I'm going to be talking about Westworld Season 3, the first couple of episodes of it. Now, let me catch my breath. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so Westworld Season 3. Westworld's back after a long break, and we have the first 3 episodes of this season. And okay, I know a lot of people are. I see it getting a lot of mixed opinions. Some people are really feeling the season. Some people are not. And absolutely, Carmine. I am absolutely down for that. When you guys, let's have this conversation off air. I'll message you when I'm done with this fucking thing. But let me talk a little bit about some Star Trek stuff. I'm going to talk about some Star Trek stuff with Carmine in a bit. But let me talk about Westworld Season 3. Now, the first 3 episodes, I'll say this right off the bat, they look tremendously beautiful. Westworld is a well-shot show, and I think as they're upgrading a lot of the action in it, you know, we're seeing a whole different stage of action in it, a whole different kind of action in it. I think the show visually looks exceptionally well. I think the acting is done well. I like the addition of Aaron Paul onto the show so far. I'm very much interested in him as a character and seeing where that goes. Now, it's very interesting to see that. Now, it's weird. I feel like I don't have much to say about the first 3 episodes of Westworld because I feel like, unlike other seasons, most of it is right out in front. I don't think there's a lot of crazy mysteries going on, although the whole big mystery of the whole season could be that they're all in future world and they're not actually in the real world and this is all just bullshit. I like seeing that we saw War World. I think the second episode was my favorite of the 3. I don't know what to say too much about this season of Westworld. I'm not liking it. I want to make that clear. I know some people are not feeling it. Some people are definitely feeling it. How I feel about it right now is I don't feel like I'm watching the same show, but that's not a bad thing. I feel like the show is evolving to a certain extent into something else. Whether it's going to be something that I like or not, I'm not quite sure yet, but I'm enjoying the ride so far. Does that make any sense? It's definitely not the same show, but I like how they're introducing it. I like how each episode is about an individual character and how we're getting a little bit more backstory of what they've been up to and what leads them to the point where they are right now. I'm very excited to see where they go with the Men in Black in the next episode and seeing where he is. A lot of questions about like who is in Dolores's mind right now, who is in the body of Charlotte right now. Questions like that are being popped up. Is this future world? Is it actually the real world? All those kind of questions. I like some of the subtle touches of this world. Aaron Paul having the little app that allows him to, go through crime. I think I like Aaron Paul. I like the performances, and I like the characters. The narrative, I'm not sure yet. And I think that's an okay thing. And I feel like this is going to be a series similar to Picard, where it's kind of difficult to talk about it until we see where it ends and see how it all comes out the other side. I feel like the framing of this season is different than any other season of Westworld. They're not so much subscribing to the mystery, what's going on, making my head hurt after every episode. I kind of feel like they're giving us a little bit more stuff spoon-fed, and it's a little bit more of a traditional action sci-fi kind of series right now. That being said, it could all end up being like a mask for what really ends up happening by the end of the season, that we're in some future world. It's all another forward thing. Like, I honestly don't know, and I'm not sure where it's going to go like that. And that's the wonderful thing about Westworld, that they've lulled me into this sense of craziness these first 2 years, of wondering, of digging so deep into every little thing, for good or for bad, that when I'm coming into this next season and they're doing a completely different thing, it's hard to do that, It's hard to look at it without and understand what it's trying to do. Is it trying to tell me a basic story from beginning to end, or is it trying to do something even more cloak and dagger? So I'm very curious. I'm very curious of all this stuff. Westworld Season 3 is very simple. It has 4 parallel realities, 2 virtual realities, and 7 simulations. That's all. But in a way, I think you're right, Ian. I know there's a little tongue-in-cheekness there. I agree with you that it's complex in a way that's a little bit more decipherable than I think previous seasons have been. I don't know if that makes sense. I think it's leading up to, and it may not be this way, but, a battle between Maeve and Dolores in some sense. But I don't know. The virtual realities, 7 simulations. Is there actual real world that we're seeing out there, or is that all a simulation too? I honestly don't know, and I honestly know I'm in for the ride. They interest me enough episode to episode with some of the tactical stuff and some of the textural stuff that I'm invested in the storyline. I've watched Westworld since the first moment of the first day of the series, and the first season grabbed me by the balls in that right way. And I don't like Westerns. I like future sci-fi stuff more. But I do hope we get an episode in the park. I do hope we get some more. I'm very curious to see when we bring the Man in Black in, how his storyline affects everything else going on. I feel like it's too early to make a fair assessment on this season of Westworld and how I feel about it, because I want to see how tight the narrative is from beginning to end. And I'll work on that, Merle. I love me some Tim. Different times. I couldn't get into the Westworld story. I'm sorry. Don't be apologizing. Joe, if Joe Dirty Locks was here with me right now, he'd be saying, I love you for not getting into that to you, because he hates it. Joe can't get into it either. Joe hates every second of Westworld he's tried to watch. He hates. So it's, and I've said this before, it's not a show for everyone. And I think even in this season, they're specializing that even more, because what they're doing is taking people that might have just liked the show for certain aspects of what it did and say, no, fuck you guys. We're making the show we want to make. And I kind of respect that. You know what I mean? The Wire was like this. That's why I consider Westworld almost this generation's Wire in a different way. I think The Wire is a far tighter, better show. So Wire fans, don't get on me. What I mean is that the creators of that show could have just made the same season 5 times in a row. The cops versus the Baltimore crime organization. And they essentially did, but instead they did the show they wanted to do every season. They wanted to show you different elements of that. They didn't care what people wanted. They didn't care about ratings. They didn't care about that. They cared about telling the story they wanted to tell. And I think Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy are like that as well in this series. They don't care if it's success. They don't care if it's HBO's next big thing like Game of Thrones or The Sopranos. They have a story they want to tell, and they're going to do it. Go fuck yourselves. And honestly, I love that. I love that more than the show itself. I love people that have that kind of attitude in the art that they create. I don't always love everything they create, but I kind of like that sort of person. I'm making a show for me. It makes sense to me. Go fuck yourselves. And I honestly, I love it. I love that more than I love the show itself, if that makes sense. I haven't watched Firefly yet. Hopefully my perpetual get the hell away from me face serves me well through this. I don't mind the story. It's switching back and forth in timelines has turned me off from Westworld Season 2. I enjoyed the first season. I saw Birdman tweet and I thought of Joe. Yes, the only thing Joe hates more than Westworld is Birdman. Hey, Phil, what do you think that the gargoyle what do you think about Gargoyles? I've been watching it again. It's pretty great. I think Gargoyles is an amazing cartoon series. I think all of those early WB 90s series are amazing. The Batman animated series. I think Gargoyles is exceptionally awesome because it has so many voices from Star Trek and so many voices from other things that are important, like good voice actors on it. And I think Gargoyles holds up as well as some other ones do of that era, and I think it's a forgotten about one. So I think Gargoyles is exceptionally awesome, and I cannot say enough good things about the series. Westworld is great, but much like The Walking Dead, the main problem is not enough adult stuff. Scary. So yeah, that's my opinions on Westworld this season. I think it's 3 episodes in. It's harder to talk about it and break it down to a certain extent. I know I haven't watched Firefly. I've heard really good things about it, and it will be on my list of shows. Oh my god, my hair is straight up. Ah! Sorry, it was time. And it did it again. It's pissing me off. There we go. That's a little better. The colic is held down now. But yes, I will watch Firefly at some point. But I am enjoying this season of Westworld, these first 3 episodes. I wouldn't say it's obsessing me like the previous seasons have, but it's more making me watch the episodes like, where are they? What the hell? Is this future world? Are they really in the future? Like Aaron Paul's whole thing and his whole crew, the way they're walking in slow motion to music makes me think that this is a simulation. Like I can't believe that this is all real. And I can't believe it's as spoon-fed as it seems at this point. There has to be some veil that's going to be ripped off by the end of the season. Something you think is going one way is not really going that way. And thank God for subtitles, because every time Chibs comes on screen, I need to turn that shit on. We have the subtitles off, we're watching it, and we're like, we're watching what's going on, then Chibs shows up, and we're like, oh God. Gotta turn on the subtitles. And I love him. I think Tommy Flanagan is his name. He'd probably kick my fucking ass if he heard me talk like that. Tommy Flanagan is an amazing actor. Like, he's managed to put off so many emotions through the entire run of Sons of Anarchy without understanding a single word he said. I understood everything he meant. So I do have to give Tommy Flanagan full credit. But at some point in time, he stopped trying to make sense so people can understand him. And he's like, or, excuse me, the average Q American idiot audience member that's watching it. I'm sure some people that can understand it, but there's some. Lock and Key is also on my watch list. Are you not day drinking? Says the Dwork Burger. How you been, Dworkin? Yes, I am. I'm drinking champagne out of a straw in a can. Because of a donation that the wheel landed on drink. So yes, I am day drinking, but I do need to go out and drive and go get cigars at some point in time. So. Dwarf Burger, it's great to see you in the live motherfucking chat. I understand him. He watched a lot of Sons. Lock and Key I've heard good things about, and I see it popping up on my Netflix. So it's something I want to watch at some point. Nothing is true. Everything is permitted. So yeah, Westworld, I'm enjoying the performances. I think Dolores is Evan Rachel Wood. Is exceptionally well done playing another variation of this Dolores character. I think all the performances have been really top notch so far in this season. I think the visuals, the show looks great. It looks like they definitely took a lot of time to shoot this, and it works. I'm very curious where the narrative of this season goes, and I will be a lot more harsh or positive about the season when it is all finished. So great. He really is a great actor. Thank you so much, Ian, for all the support you've given in the live motherfucking chat. And thank you to all of our wonderful donators and people that have been helping it go. I'm sorry I didn't forget about you, so I can come tonight if you want. Wait, sorry. Oh, shit. Is Joe texting me? My aunt's texting me. What the fuck's going on? I just looked down at my phone and it's like people are like, you're live. Oh my God. Because my family and friends are actually home doing nothing. So I have people actually watching me. So hi, everybody. Here I am. But thank you, Ian. So that's about all I have to say about Westworld right now. There's not much else to talk about it right now. I mean, I could break down each single moment. Bernard going into the park to steal Maeve's mind. I thought that that way that it was revealed that we're inside Maeve's head instead of actually in Maeve, I thought was done really well. Again, as I have to mention, the second episode was my favorite of the three. I just like the Maeve episode the best, and I thought it worked the best. And it felt the most like Westworld, and I think that's maybe I need my binky of seeing characters I know better to kind of melt me into it, whereas the first episode felt like you're watching a completely different fucking series, and the third episode has sort of melted things in together. I do like Aaron Paul's performance so far. I do feel like some of the dialogue isn't quite as tight and well written as it could be. There's some cheesiness going on in some of the dialogue stuff. If I'm being nitpicky on it, that's probably my weakest thing so far. Some of the dialogue feels, I don't know, not quite as punched up as it could. But the visuals are top notch and the acting performances are great, and I think the narrative is heading in a direction that I'm not sure where it's heading, but I'm in for the ride. So, Santovia Major, do you have Facebook so I can call you? We can be best friends. You and me. Oh, shit. Oh, damn. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Am I going to break something else? Because I just totally spilled champagne all over my, Let's see if I suddenly disappear sound-wise. Let's play. One more second while I get some paper towels.
Lines up in my face. People are distracting me, messing with my pace. The back of the girl in front of me seems like she's waiting for me to be with me. Tight line of noise, creatively, silently standing there with poise. Spent today in a flame. Did I know which bitch to blame? It's a shame I should have came. Slide the slow.
Why day drinking is not recommended near electrical equipment. So yeah, I think as of right now, no immediately broken things. Are you watching any shows you haven't seen yet? The Tiger Show I just watched, like that was mentioning before, as a show that's just catching up on right now. Most of the shows I'm watching right now are shows I'm either... He is pretty much Jesse again. He's Jesse in a different setup. I agree. He's playing Jesse Pinkman. I keep saying to Steph, are we going to hear at least one yeah bitch before the end of the season? I really hope we do. The old gods are coming. Old gods. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Hopefully that didn't damage anything. We'll see. If suddenly my voice gets robotic, I'm like, hello everybody, my name is Phil from Planet Melmac. I'm going to eat cats. If that happens, like Gordon Shumway there, I'm going to be a mess. Can you imagine last year's season 8 of Game of Thrones hype during this year's outbreak? I believe we all would have been more disappointed with the ending because of our desperation and good news. Did you watch the Arrival reference in the first trailer with Baxter? No, I didn't. I'm a tiger. Okay, after playing Jesse, it's hard to see him as an action hero. That half of can of champagne kicking in. Dworkin, you know me well enough. Excuse me, Dwarf Burger. You know me well enough. I have one sip of something and I'm suddenly social. So yes, it has kicked in, you fucking dirty asshole. I haven't eaten any food yet. That's why I told you Westworld is subliminally about aliens. I love you guys. It's about Melmacian aliens that have come down the planet Westworld, come down the planet. I do like, again, certain little things like we see the ocean and we see where Westworld is in association to the rest of the world. Turn off that music, dumbass. I know I have to fix my hair again. I know I'm an immortal robot. Speaking of immortal robots, we do need to talk about Picard. And I am going to be... Carmine popped his little head in here a little while ago. And I am going to be talking about Picard, I think, if the timing works out. I never want to say I'm definitely going to be there because you never can tell with timing. But I might be joining Preston and Carmine on their final episode of Picard discussion if the timing works out for it. But either way, I want to kind of melt into talking a little bit about Picard here. So, talking about immortal robots or not immortal robots. Okay, let's transition out of Westworld into another thing about androids, Picard. Now, I've been watching this season of Picard from the beginning. Joe and I touched in it about the beginning. Picard has, let's get it out of the way, okay? First off, let's not deny that Picard is 95% member berries. I feel like there is a lot there. I liked every single second of it because I feel like it's a series made for me with all these little touches. Every episode has 10,000 little member berries in there. And I think they're integrated in a very good way. Sometimes shows integrate the member berries in a bad way, but I think I would put Picard and the Mandalorian very similar but different series for their respective universes, right? I think they're the best things that either franchise has done in years. They're not perfect. There's still ways of picking things apart, but you forgive it because of the way it makes you feel, right? Like Picard has these certain dynamics of it that are sometimes cheesy, sometimes done in a poor way that you could pick apart if you wanted to. But Quark's bar gets mentioned, and I like it, and it's done in a really fun way, in a really natural, organic way. So I was in. But when it comes down to it and you watch the whole series of Picard, it could have been a 2-part, maybe a 3-part Next Generation episode that was basically towards the end of the episode. Like everything that happened in the first 8 episodes could have been wrapped into like one Next Generation episode in the way it could have been edited, and just edited in a slightly different way. And then the final episode when they're on the planet with all the androids felt to me the most Next Generation-y that we had. And then we had sort of a 2-part episode there that led into the series finale. I don't want to spoil too much of it. Phil, don't talk about Picard, please. Now, let's just talk about Next Generation. I know you really didn't like Picard. Merle Davis, aka Tim, really didn't like it. And I get that some people it's not for. For me, I really didn't like it. I liked a lot of the new characters, and I think that's what kind of made me interested in it. In the same way Cobra Kai, and I mentioned this with Joe earlier, that Cobra Kai is great for me, not because I like Johnny and Daniel. I knew I'm going to like Johnny and Daniel. I like Cobra Kai because I like the secondary characters too. I like Daniel's daughter. I like I'm blanking on his name because I haven't seen the seasons in a while. The kid that Daniel trains, or the Johnny trains. I like all of the Cobra Kai kids. I like Hawk. On Picard, I like the Romulans that work at Picard's farm. I like the captain. I like 7 of 9 and her appearances in this series. I generally like Soji. Like as a character, I think she works. So I think all of those dynamics make it more effective for me than it would be for someone that's not feeling some of those new characters and just enjoyed the part when Riker shows up, the part where Data shows up, like it's an episode of Frasier. The episode where Sam shows up, the episode where Woody shows up. I don't think I can get the Mike Tyson look more. I might just watch season 2 and see if 7 of 9 is a lesbian now. Dislike because he's talking about Picard. Merle, come on. It's not like I'm saying Daryl Dixon is a great character or something like that. Oh, my goodness. Dwarf Burger is on your side there, Tim, or Merle. It's not Star Trek. It's exploitation. Okay. So to you, hey, great to see Jay in the live motherfucking chat. So Dworkin, to you, what you're saying is you're picking my gourd here. You don't consider Deep Space Nine Star Trek either, right? Because there's not exploration. I think we've had this talk on my radio show. So you consider Voyager and Next Generation Star Trek, but you don't consider Deep Space Nine or Picard. Fucking douchebag. Yeah, the Romulans at the Vineyards, the twins are cool. I think they were some of the coolest part of the entire series for me. I liked their whole dynamic and that they were putting things back together. I do hope in season 2 we get to see some more characters from Deep Space Nine and some more characters that focus in this world. I'd love to catch up with Garak and see what's going on in Cardassia right now. And I think that's definitely a possibility, specifically because we've seen Quark and we've had mention of Deep Space Nine stuff already. Tim F says, gotta disagree, Picard was terrible. Stewart playing a background character in his own show, getting emasculated by every turn by girl bosses, becomes a synth dude. Agendas. So I know a lot of people are feeling the agendas on Picard. I've heard that a lot, that it's an allegory for this, an allegory for that. I try to separate my mind from that shit and just kind of judge the series as a whole. I get that some people aren't feeling it, that they think that Stewart became a background character in his own series, that there's too much standard action fare going on, or that it's too dark, or everything had to become a desperately dark situation, or at the end with Picard becoming an android wasn't necessarily a great thing. I can feel all of that stuff. I feel that you're feeling all that. I can only speak for me and my experience watching it, that I drank the Kool-Aid and I was with it the whole time. That's not mean I wasn't picking and choosing moments where I'm like, I gotta shut off my brain right here. But, sometimes the member berries are so strong for you that it doesn't matter, that you get brainwashed. And I think Picard, regardless of what you want to say with it about the agenda or about the storyline being as tight as it could be, I feel like it does member berry well. And having been starving, walking through the desert, craving a cracker for so many years, they gave me a Ritz. And it tasted good because I've dealt with fucking Discovery the last couple of years and Enterprise and the Next Generation movies, which I thought were all horrible pieces of shit when it really comes down to it. I like some parts of First Contact. I've mentioned that before. I like some parts of Generations. I think everything after Deep Space Nine is questionable. I think Voyager has some amazing episodes. I think Enterprise has 2 seasons of shit and then a season and a half of some okay stuff. I think Discovery is okay, but really I have to really turn my brain off a lot and not think about it as Star Trek to watch it. I think Picard, at least in some dynamic scenes, understood what Star Trek was about. The scene with Data and Picard talking in the dream, I thought felt like Trek to me. I thought some of the moments when they came down the planet and first were introduced to all the new characters felt Trekky. But this season and the last season of The Walking Dead have been so much better than the previous 3 seasons. Says Tim F. Great to see Tim F. Picard is a diplomat. Give me a break. Do you guys still do Better Call Saul and Walking Dead podcasts? Not Walking Dead, but still will be doing Better Call Saul. Double dislike because he said Daryl is great. DS9 is Trek, but dramedy, not sci-fi so much as Dwarfburger. Trek is about the elevated, enlightened humanity dealing with the horrors and challenges of space, not fighting laser beams and blowing shit up. I added that little tone to the end there. No, I get you guys. I get you people that think Trek is, Gene's vision and nothing else. I can't argue with that mindset. I don't share it, but I get it, if that makes sense. And I'm not going to say, hey, fuck you guys. Screw you for not liking what I like. I never want you, blah, blah. Phil, look aside from Discovery. Phil, look aside from Discovery. I accept all Star Trek. So yeah, I'm going to get into more detail on Picard, probably with Carmine and Preston. But I can't say I hated it. I'd be lying. I can't say I didn't drink the Kool-Aid and fall into the trap of enjoying the ride. Was it perfect? No. Can I deny a lot of the stuff that Tim F is saying and a lot of people are saying about it? No, I can't do that either. I can't. I want to. I want to argue with you and tell you I loved it because I loved it. It was awesome. I loved it because I loved it. I loved it because I felt like it was a treat seeing Patrick Stewart on screen, even as a background character at sometimes. I like it because I don't care if it is fan fiction-y. I want to know what happened to some characters. I want to know that Quark is still out there doing business. I want to know where Picard is up to right now. I want to see Riker on his home planet making pizzas. It seems cheesy and stupid, and I know what I'm saying here, and I know how it sounds, but I want to make it clear that I'm not denying what you guys are saying. I'm just saying, I don't care. I liked it. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. You love the Kool-Aid. I do. I'm not afraid to drink Kool-Aid and take a ride on something. And I can relook at it years later and have a more fine-tooth point of like looking and breaking it apart and understanding it was shit, like 90210 is a good example. I watched 90210 while it was happening. I love the Dylan McKay storyline, getting his money back. I'm like, this is awesome. This is great. You watch it back now. It's, it's kind of shitty, but I still loved it while it was happening. Fuck you, Devin. Devin's like, you're easily manipulated emotionally. I know. I've seen it with girls. I've seen it with TV shows and movies. Oh, Dwok, you're keyboard hero right now. Come on the show, Devin. Let's talk about this in person. You're hiding behind the quarantine, my Dwokin friend. No, I hope. See, all jokes aside, I hope you and the fam and the pup are doing well. So, people that don't know, Dwarfburger is a friend of Joe and I in real life. Well, I don't know about friend, but he knows us in real life. Member berries do not equate quality. As usual, Lindsay is a voice of wisdom. I agree. And I would say agenda doesn't always equal lack of quality. And sometimes if I'm confident enough about, and this is me, I'm not saying anything against everyone else. When something has an agenda, I'm missed by it. It gets past my brain because I'm such a friggin', I'm not gonna say critical thinking, but like arrogant, like not arrogant isn't the best word of it either. Like prickly and I'm too, I might be emotionally brainwashed, but I don't get tactically brainwashed easily. And if something's trying to teach me something or give me an agenda, I'm like, oh, that's the agenda. And I ignore it and I move on and kind of try to judge something on the quality level of it all. So, and it was same with Member Berries. I think Picard is a decent series from beginning to end. It's not extremely well put together. And I think when I get into the weaknesses of it, it's when I more associate it against other series that are trying to do similar sci-fi kind of things, or if I compare it against the other Trek series or Trek as a whole. I think as an individual streaming series, it's a good one, not a great one. It's decent to good. C+, B- kind of series. And I think everything needs to be so big. Everything's the greatest thing in the world or the worst thing in the world. And I think it's something like Picard's okay. And it's good. It's good for what it is. The Member Berries work. The narrative makes sense if it isn't simple. And isn't quite as developed as I want. What was up with the Borg? Why were the Borg even there? Just so we could have 7 of 9. I thought that was going to be a much bigger part of the storyline. I thought the Romulans just turn around once they realize they shut off the beacon. Like, aren't those weird alien creatures that look like they're out of the Avengers movies? Is Thanos going to find another way to attack Earth? I mean, there's certain aspects I can just rip the fuck apart, but I think Stewart's acting was good, and I think the narrative entertained me. Welcome back. I was worried as well. For once, Riker and Troy didn't get on my nerves. I would say that same thing, Santovia. For once, I felt like Troy was useful. Like when she could realize what was happening with Picard in that moment and talked and had that scene and gave her performance. I think it was some of the best acting Marine Sirtis, or whatever her name is, has ever done on Star Trek. You know, it's silly things like that. Like, I don't think the best Star Trek story ever told. No fucking way. Was it a Star Trek? Was it a Next Generation story? I feel like it was at times. Not through the whole thing, but I think at times it had elements that made me go, okay, this is a better conclusion than Nemesis. You know, because I think Nemesis and some of the movies were worse. You know, like, again, that's me. That's my opinion. And worse with agenda, worse with meaning, worse with like deeper stuff. I think, yeah, personally, I definitely think that. And so I don't mind this being the conclusion. I think Troy was excellent. I think some of her acting in that episode was better than she'd done in 8 seasons of Next Generation. Was it 7 seasons of Next Generation? Yeah, 8. I'm going to add 8 because I'm adding the movies. And I think Chekhov's Riker was fine. You knew it was coming. I wish he was flying the Enterprise, and I wish it wasn't like painfully obvious that they had everyone have the same ship because they just wanted to CG copy and paste Riker's ship. So it's like, oh, we have a bunch of these ships, the same ship that's gonna fuck you up. And I also thought that Riker. Why am I blanking on his name right now? I think Riker in the character felt very Kirk-like as well. I think he was playing it a lot more Kirk than he had played on the series as well. So I don't know. And like I said, that final season with Data inside the brain, I thought was a better goodbye to Data than we got in Nemesis. So yeah, I mean, I could break down Picard a lot more. I don't want to defend it in the sense that there are much better things to spend my time defending. So if someone didn't feel it, I'm not gonna spend. I have to fight off the Deep Space Nine haters, and I'll do that my rest of my life. But I'm not going to kind of fight the fight for Picard because I don't feel like it's a series for every Star Trek fan or every fan of television in the sense of like, you got to watch Better Call Saul. You know, like how I feel about Better Call Saul or how I feel about this show or that show or whatever. I think it's more universally appealing for people. I think this show is very specific. Some people are going to not like this, not get it, or are going to like it because of nostalgia, are going to like it because of Stewart, going to like it because of numerous reasons, because of the production value or whatever. So yeah, those are kind of my thoughts on this series. I really liked it. It was fun. It's okay to have political undertones in fiction as long as it's not divisive. Great storytelling in characters, The Expanse, best show ever. I hear nothing but amazing things about this Expanse, Tim F. Everyone that tells me I'm a Star Trek fan says you got to check out The Expanse. I am absolutely going to. It's definitely on my list of shows to watch. How can I say that with Worf in the room? Quark and Garak are some of the best TV characters. I think they're two characters that could be included in Picard next season. Personally, I think so. I hated the ship's designs in Picard. I didn't like the ship's designs in Picard either, Tim. They seemed not well done at all, and I don't like Riker's ship that we saw at the end. I was hoping to see a different Enterprise at that point in time, and the fact that it wasn't an Enterprise kind of pissed me off and leads me to believe that there will be another Enterprise series in the future sometimes, and there's a reason why they didn't choose the Enterprise there, but either way, it kind of pissed me off. Better Call Saul equals A+, Picard C-. I would go C+, Stone, but I'm with you there. I quit watching The Orville when I felt like they were preaching at me in every episode. No, I hear you. But I think agenda and preaching are two different things, at least for me anyways. I think if something just has an undertoned agenda to it, I can ignore it. When something's preaching to me, I tend to shut something off as well, especially. But I don't know. Again, I like to know my enemy, and I like to know, and even if I don't agree with the things people are preaching at me, I like hearing it. I like someone, I used to get pissed off when people would tell bad poker players how to play good. Why are you trying to yell at this person? And I say this to Joe. This is Joe I'm talking about. Joe has a habit, or had a habit when we used to play poker a lot more, of yelling at people for making bad plays and telling them, what the fuck are you doing? And then trying to teach them in the moment why they are playing bad poker and play better. To me, I'm like, and I turn to him and I go, why are you doing that? Why do you want people to play good? And with agenda and with stuff like that, I feel in my mind like it's go for it. Go do it. Go do it. I'm not going to drink the Kool-Aid, but I'm not going to tell you to stop doing it. You know, I'm just going to deal with it and move on and kind of judge things individualistically on myself. You know, like, every season of Survivor, now I'm transitioning over to Survivor here, yeah. Every season of Survivor has some ridiculous, stupid agenda that they're trying to tell. Some tale of this character's struggle and human bullshit, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, I know, I'm a fucking horrible human being. I'm not watching for that. You know, I'm watching for the lying and the cheating and the stealing and the interactions and all that sort of crap that happens on it, right? To a certain extent, I'm watching for the challenges. I'm watching for the visual aspects of the activities. I'm watching for the bikinis. I'm watching for the abs. Whatever I'm watching, right? I'm not watching for fucking agenda. I just turn my brain off to that shit, you know? And I appreciate it for what it is. I'm not going to spoil Ozarks right now. Someone asked where Phil was in the AfterBuzz TV. Did someone really do that in the AfterBuzz TV show? What's funny about AfterBuzz is back when I first started doing this, when I was getting like crazy numbers because no one else was doing these kind of shows, and I had sort of understood the YouTube algorithm a little bit better than I understand now. I was getting, like 40,000 views per video or something. People weren't actually watching. They were watching like 2 seconds of it and turning it off. Actually, probably have more viewers watching my podcast all the way through now. But someone from AfterBuzz contacted me and asked me if I was ever in LA, if I wanted to be on one of their shows. So funny about AfterBuzz though. But that is great. I like that as well. What about the pilot Rios that played by Santiago with the multiple versions of himself? I kind of like that. I enjoy the EMH, and I like seeing more dynamic uses of an EMH character. And I think honestly, the Captain was probably my favorite of the new characters we saw. His whole dynamic of being an old Starfleet captain has had some problems with older Starfleet people that have brought him out as a father-like figure and then ultimately abandoned him or disappointed him in some way, shape, or form. I enjoyed that character. I think out of the new characters, he was my favorite. I do like the Orville a lot. I won't say anything more about the Ozarks. I don't think I spoiled it earlier. I did say about what I didn't like about it, but I don't think I spoiled it. So I got to try Better Call Saul another try. Everyone digs it. I couldn't get into it. I would say give Better Call Saul till halfway through season 2 to let you know if you're going to like it. Season 1's my least favorite season. I don't think they knew what kind of show they were trying to do yet. I think they were still figuring it out, and it's a lot more boring than the rest of the seasons of Better Call Saul. I think Better Call Saul starts in season 2. AfterBuzz is too markish for me. Everything is great in season 8 of Game of Thrones. I agree. I love that. I would love to be on a show like that, on an AfterBuzz episode for promotion purposes, to get more people in here to watch us. But I agree. There's a certain dynamic on some of the other after shows, and this isn't disrespecting anyone specific, but AfterBuzz is a little bit sunshine and happiness on everything. And when they do pick things apart, it's not as dark and deep. It's a little Talking Dead at times. It's like Talking Dead for everything. And again, I like some of the hosts. I like some of the shows. I like how it's a different group on every possible show that you can get in the AfterBuzz. And I don't think everything in them suck. And I'm not using this as an opportunity to bash the biggest thing in my venue. But it is very Talking Dead-ish at times. Yeah, AfterBuzz is just a ripoff of You. That's the end of talking about Picard, and I think Tim has something to say. Yeah, I mean, we started generally at the same time doing this. Myself, AfterBuzz, and post-episode recaps with Rob Sesternino all generally started doing this around the same time. And obviously, Rob and AfterBuzz are a lot more successful than I am because they don't say fuck every other word. But, I like my audience better. I love Rob's audience, actually. I can't say anything bad about Rob and post-episode recaps. I think they do an amazing fucking job. And I'd be lucky to ever do a crossover with any of the guys on that fucking show. But like Antonio Mazzaro and Josh Wiggler do probably the best Better Call Saul breakdown that's around. Antonio Mazzaro is a lawyer. And I can't say enough great things about their Game of Thrones content or their whatever. Like, I generally do like post-episode recaps and Josh and Rob and all that stuff. I haven't heard of AfterBuzz in a while. Me neither. To be honest with you, they do pop up on my YouTube stuff just because I'm subscribed to them to kind of see and to keep an eye on the competition, like the professional competition. But yes, AfterBuzz was obviously, and post episode recaps in general were more visible a few years ago when less people were doing them. And that's not to say, oh my God, everyone's doing it. But there was a certain point in time where there were like 3 or 4 people doing what we do, and now there's like 20. So, there's a sense of AfterBuzz was a lot more visible back in that period of time. I like AfterBuzz when I watch the show with the discussion aspect, Game of Thrones, but now I don't watch those shows anymore. It's not as important to me. I hear you, and I generally like that setup too. I like the setup of having a big group talking. The Schmoes do a good version of this as well. There's a lot of people that do good roundtable discussion stuff, and I think you got to give AfterBuzz the credit for being one of the first ones to do it, and even influenced me to a certain extent at the beginning of doing these kind of things of what the show would be, of like, doing a recap and breaking things down. And I think myself and Rob Sesternino as well would be lying if we said that AfterBuzz didn't have some influence on us doing post-episode recaps and post-show recap stuff after the fact. But that's a different discussion for a different day. I think D&D ruined any enjoyment I had with Song of Ice and Fire. I don't even care about Winds of Winter anymore. That's a shame for George's purposes, that I think some generalized fans are kind of to that point right now where they don't care as much about Winds of Winter because of how poorly final seasons of Game of Thrones were handled, or not caring about the prequel series. It's tough. I mean, I think once that book hits, you're going to see all the Game of Thrones fans, the people that are really fans of the series, fall out. But I've said this before, we got 2 books to wait for. Everyone's always about Winds of Winter. To see to get us to have a written version of the shit we saw in these final 2 seasons, to get to see George's full version. It's 2 books. It's not 1. Stop thinking Winds of Winter is the end here. It's not Winds of Winter. We got winter and spring coming. So after we wait for winter, which I do think will come out, and I do think people will care about it once it gets here, and kind of quiet that voice in their head that reminds them of how bad they feel like season 7 and 8 of Game of Thrones were. I feel like, the book should save part of that. I think if the prequel series is good, that being said, I think a lot of people are going to be going into that prequel series watching it like, come on, Piss me off. Just give me an excuse. I think there's going to be a big dynamic of that going into this final season, going into the first season of the new series, and the bookstores are an extent. So I think it's going to be an interesting ride here at the end. Yeah, minimum 2 books. Okay, let me play Tim's voicemail, and then I'm going to start to wrap things up here. We got a voicemail from the one and only Tim Gersh, and I have a feeling I know what this is going to be right now. Let's say, Tim, what do you got to say for yourself?
Shut the fuck up, Phil.
Okay, there it is. One more time. What's funny is we all can hear Tim saying, shut the fuck up here, Phil.
Shut the fuck up, Phil.
Okay, that means it's the end of our show. But you know how anyone that has a Google Voice knows how they somewhat, or in some text stuff, they correct it by, they text correct what the voicemail says or tells you so you can read a quick preview of it. Tim's voicemail, this is for you, broke, if you're out there somewhere, said, shop for Funkos, Phil. I thought that was a very fun autocorrect there. So shut the fuck up, Phil. Changed to shop for Funkos, Phil. So somewhere BBM is smiling. George R. R. Martin is going to die before he finishes. Also, as old as George Martin is, and as he's waited to finish the Song of Ice, I fear we won't get the last book. Santovia says George is supposedly writing something during this quarantine. It's just like old times. It's just like old times here on the Old Issues program. And as I said, I was going to be on for an hour, and now it's an hour and 46 minutes. I think it's about time I start to wrap things up here, as I need to finally eat for the day and do my hippie activities. It is Funko time. So what have we talked about today? We talked about Better Call Saul and how much I'm loving this season. We talked about this season of Ozarks and how I didn't like season 3 quite as much as the first 2 seasons, but I still loved it. I didn't like it as much because of one specific character that I'm not going to talk about because I don't want to spoil it as it's out there right now. And if you're careful about spoiling the Ozarks right now, if you want to be careful, do not look in the live motherfucking chat because I can't control these motherfuckers. They may just throw something out there right now. I can ask them not to, but I'm not going to do that. So, because then someone would just do it out of spite. So if you want to be very careful, close the chat immediately. But because of one character on the show that was a bigger part, Helen, I did not like Helen, and I didn't like her last year. And she's, spoiler alert, a little bit. She's more of a part of this season than she is of last season, even. And I'm more interested moving forward, I talked about Picard and how I, drank all those member berries and maybe got brainwashed a little bit and understood that the series maybe isn't as good as I enjoyed, but I still fucking enjoyed it. I talk about Westworld Season 3 and how these first 3 episodes I'm having a wait to see kind of attitude. But in general, I've liked most of what I've seen, except for the dialogue. I've kind of hated the dialogue so far on this season of Westworld. I feel like it's a little cheesy, a little mailed in compared to some of the other dynamic elements of the series. I feel like the Tiger King has been a very fun show, and the character of Joe Exotic is a cross between Johnny Fairplay, Guy Fieri, and Eugene from The Walking Dead. I hope season 12 of The Walking Dead is the last season. And did I talk about anything else today? Game of Thrones season 8 still pisses people off. So I think that's about it. That's about all I have to talk about. So I don't know what else to say here. But yes, I will be back maybe before the end. What day of the week is this? I don't even know what fucking day. What's it, Wednesday? I'll be back at minimum next Monday, on Monday, for a Better Call Saul recap, either Monday after the episode airs or Tuesday afternoon. Maybe on Sunday evening and maybe once before then. If you're a patron, I will try tomorrow and every day to give you guys some phony streams. Maybe even on the YouTube channel as well. I'll pop up and do a little hi, how you doing? But I will try to be out here more often than not. If you're watching this after the fact and you're like, Phil, get your ass out here every day right now. We need you every day for at least a half an hour to babble to us. Tell me you want that and I'll do it. Email me privately, talk to me, whatever. I want to help us all through this fucking quarantine. Excuse me. The champagne's making me burp. Oh my goodness. All right, Phil. Now you have another from Tim. Kevin Cleary. One more time, congratulations to you, buddy. And let's end things on one more Tim message before we call it out.
Shop for Funko. Shop for Funko. I can't see what. Can we tell? Shop for Funkos.
Shut the Funko door, Tim. Something about Tim laughing is making me laugh. Oh my goodness. Yes, Phil, do a daily show. Do the Phil Daily Show. Maybe I will start doing a Phil Daily Show and checking in. But if you guys want that, let me know in the comment section below after the video. Email me, igotissuesman@gmail.com. Tweet at me. And let's start getting a daily audience here and start all checking in on each other and helping each other stay a little sane here. I hope this hour and 50 minutes or so that I've been on today at least put a little bit of a smile on your face and help distract you from the mundane bullshit that we're all dealing with right now. Anyways, so on that note, Phil. Yes, Feinstein.
Is it time? It's time. It's time to leave this universe. It's time to fuck them in their asses with one more song.
Is that really what time it is?
Yes. Yeah, I am.
Jay says I'm stuck home most days to do a live stream every day. I'm fucking bored, asshole. I added the asshole because, Jay's such a nice guy that he's not going to call me an asshole.
You soon.
Bloody Talker's on the front line. Let me turn this down. Bloody Talker's on the front lines. He needs some entertainment. Even if I need to come out here and do a fucking karaoke stream or something like that. I need to protect my fucking FOPers right now and keep everyone sane by making them go insane listening to me talk. No, thank you for the distraction. You guys are awesome.
And soon I will be in a new dimension where I can drink your blood. I am a gargoyle, like my father before me. I will go.
Oh, we got Dwarfburger playing D&D 5 days a week. That's what he's doing for work right now. Have you started teaching Liam about D&D yet? Is he old enough to comprehend it? Oh. Everyone, thank you so much for checking out this live stream. If you haven't already, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'm not tagging this video and it's titled really weird, so if you enjoyed this and you think someone else would enjoy it, share it directly with another friend, because no one else is going to find this. It's going to be one of those things that the people watching this are going to be the only people ever watching this. So if you want other people to watch this shit, want other people to keep finding me, I say this a lot. It's the truth. I swear way too much for YouTube to suggest me to anybody. So if you guys think there are people that might like me, please, you guys are my friends, my FOPers, my loves, and the ones that are going to help more and more people find us. So thank you so much for everyone that checked this out this afternoon. If you have any venting you need to do throughout the weeks while you're dealing with us, leave me some voicemails. 781-990-8509. Again, 781-990-8509. Leave me voicemails. Leave me texts. If I'm going to do a daily show, I need content to talk about, and that means voicemails. So please blow up my phone. If you're watching this, or if you have friends, family, anybody, you need someone that needs to vent into a phone for 3 minutes because it cuts you off after 3 minutes and then call back again, do it. I'm telling you right now, blow up my fucking phone. Give me voicemails. Give me an excuse to come out here. Do it. So yeah. We need we need SwearTube. We really do need that. Alicia, great to see you, Alicia. I love you. I love AKs in the live motherfucking stream. Oh no, I might email me. Email me. Everyone email me. Tell me some shit. Email me your bitching, your moaning, your crying, your complaints, all that sort of stuff. Do it. Do it well. Shop for Funkos. Shop for Funkos, baby. Dwarfburger trying to piss me off. Rise of Skywalker better than Picard. Thanks. Come back soon. I will be back soon. You can't get rid of a loud, obnoxious, annoying individual like me. I want to give AK a big hug as well, who I just saw pop in the live stream. Hope AK is doing amazing. You're the best. Shop for Funkos. Anytime you want to say shut the fuck up to me, it's now shop for Funkos. With a side butthole. I have watched the Schmodown before. I like those guys. Entertaining. I would dream to be on the Schmodown. Message those assholes. And I mean assholes in the best possible way. Jay, do it. Blow them up and tell them you want Phil the Issues Guy on the show. Keep clean. Wash your hands. No casual sex allowed right now. Only partners that you're living with. Be safe. Goodbye, everybody. I love you. Do it. Do it. I say this before, but if you want me on another channel, reach out to the people. It always sounds better coming from somebody else than me. I can send a message and be like, "Hi, Aussie man, I really want to be on your show. Please have me." But it's not going to do good coming from me. They're just going to ignore that. So it's thanks to you guys. That's why Tony and Carmine and everyone had me on their channels. It's not because they saw me or I asked them. It's because you guys suggested it. Love you guys. Talk to you next time.